like to call this meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
All right, Council President Perez.
Here.
Councilmember Van. Here. Councilmember Benedetti.
Here.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
Here.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Here.
Councilmember Prince. And Councilmember Corman.
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move to excuse the Councilmember Prince.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we excuse the absent council member. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, first up, we have a proclamation for Rare Disease Day.
Hey, proclamation. Whereas there are nearly 7,000 diseases and conditions considered rare, each affecting fewer than 200,000 Americans in the United States, according to the National Institutes of Health. And whereas while each of these diseases may affect small numbers of people, rare diseases as a group affect almost 30 million Americans. And whereas while more than 450 drugs and biologics have been approved for the treatment of rare diseases, according to the Food and Drug Administration, millions of Americans still have rare diseases for which there is no approved treatment. And whereas individuals and families affected by rare diseases often experience significant hardships and impacts such as diagnosis delay, difficulty finding a medical expert, and lack of access to treatments. And whereas while the public is familiar with some rare diseases, many patients and families affected by less widely known rare diseases bear a large share of the burden of funding research and raising public awareness to support the search for treatments. And whereas the National Organization for Rare Disorders is organizing a nationwide observance of Rare Disease Day on February 29, 2020, to raise awareness amongst the general public and decision makers about rare diseases and their impact on patients' lives. Now therefore, I, Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim February 29, 2020 to be Rare Disease Day in the City of Renton, and I encourage all members of the community to join me in this special observation, and witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand to cause the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 24th day of February 2020, signed Armando Pavoni, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move the proclamation to be adopted as read.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, proclamation is adopted. Okay, to accept the proclamation, we have Jolene Del Fiero. The sign-up sheet. Okay, thank you. Next up, we have the administrative report. We got Bob on.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council members. I have 3 items for you this evening. One, the surface water utility is accepting public comment on the draft 2020 Stormwater Management Program Plan, and that plan and instructions for submitting comments are available on the city's website at rentonwa.gov/NPDES. The second item is Sky Urban Empowerment and Transformation Center will celebrate Black History Month by presenting 2020 Celebrating Black Excellence, Realizing the Dream on Wednesday, February 26th at 6 p.m. The center is located at 301 South 3rd Avenue in Renton. And then the last item this evening, the Renton Chamber of Commerce is hosting the 2020 Pacific Northwest Economic Equity Summit on Friday, February 28th from 7 to 11 a.m. at the Hyatt Regency Lake, Washington. The event brings together regional business leaders, and invites the community to find resolutions to the challenges in our region, specifically the economic inequity that exists in the Pacific Northwest. The city will also have a 2020 census information table outside the event. That's all for this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have audience comment. When I call your name, please step up to the podium, state your name and city of residence. First up, we have Jason Collins.
My name is Jason Collins. I live in Renton. I was going to apply to the parks jobs because I know that they got so much sand to move, and I see that your container wall holding the Cedar River walk across the thing is all rusted, and you're gonna, especially across the street at the seniors home and that one ramp that's been closed for 4 years, right? Like, how do you buy 2 tanks but can't afford to fix the walkway for the people that chose to retire here and like started the whole city, considering the Seattle's only 120 years old, right? So then I go to apply to, so I have to set up an account with Renton, City of Renton, right? So I'm like, set up an account like SAJ _Win _Collins, right? Like, and when I go to do this, everything jumps, right? And I can't find the Parks Department job anymore. So I fill out this one for events trainer, right? Because I don't see how, or events coordinator, because I don't see how you'd need a college degree to coordinate events, right? I mean, all you have to do is run an office, right, and keep your emails clean because they're GCC. So they went and the 2 emails the one email and then the names of the people seemed off, so I took screenshots of them and I sent them to the HR for Renton. So I don't even know if those were the right people to address or not, because it didn't seem like the email handle was right. And then there was also Renton, or HR at renton.gov, right, which seems like the right handle. Anyway, so in case there's some questions about that, and I posted a sign out in front of Fred Meyer, and I really think that you should consider the way that the ebb and flow of things, right? But and I'm kind of interested in the stormwater on the edge by the 8-bit, right? The sinkhole that sucks the whole street and the buildings in, right? Has caused it so it only pours oil and cigarette butts into the stormwater catch. So if you are interested in fixing that, since it just make it an issue, I know that there's gully washers that is right in Kent. The guy made absorbents, right? Petty, he deals with all the keeping this oils and the metals and stuff out of this, and he's local, right? He could probably use the business, but anyway. And then he's really, if you're gonna fix the walkway, I see no reason why you can't give somebody in the community the job. There's no like stipulation like you can't work for the city of Renton and like live in the city of Renton at the same time, right? Anyway, have a good day.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have Jolene Del Fiero. Oh, you're signed up to speak. Would you like to come up and say a few words? Okay. Last up is Patrick Waddell.
Should I pass these out?
Second.
Okay, my name is Patrick Waddell, and I keep an airplane at Renton Airport. And on these little charts, I indicate where the hangar is, where I keep it, where I do annuals, and where I do training. And the current configuration of the development plan, the new master plan, will be a significant disruption for years for me to either use the aircraft, continue currency training, and basically being able to use it with my family. I recently and with the last few years, finished a 10-year waiting period to get the hangar, and I encourage more hangars, not fewer. If they start disappearing, then I will maybe no longer be able to afford it. Also, as a taxpayer, I looked at the plan, and it is just much, very far out of proportion to what one would expect for maybe small marginal gains in safety. And online, I've just downloaded analyses of takeoff and landing accidents. And there's great data at FAA websites. And the situation with Renton is vastly different from other airports. Part of my work in science and working with airborne astronomy is I've gone in and out of Burbank. So one can compare Burbank, and they have technical solutions for overrun situations that fit easily at the extreme ends of our runway if that's required. But the situation of risk for Renton is at least 2 orders of magnitude less than a situation like Renton. So I have charts that show, say, landing accidents or takeoff overrun accidents, and you can compare them. And on a log chart, they're just vastly far apart, because this isn't a place where 3 million people come through every year, such as Burbank. So you picture the entire city of Seattle and Renton coming through Renton Airport twice a year. That kind of a situation is just incomparable compared to the test flights that basically are done with Renton or delivery flights. So that's in summary.
Great, thank you.
Can I leave these here, or should I
Yeah,
say?
you can,
Yeah, you can leave them there, that's fine.
I'll take them.
Okay, next up is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move that the council concur with the consent agenda.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Next up is unfinished business. Council President Perez.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the committee of the whole committee has a report to present.
Okay, Committee of the Whole Committee report. To finalize the latecomers agreement ordinance for Sunset Lane Northeast Improvement Projects. The Committee of the Whole recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to hold first reading of ordinance number 5961, adopting the final assessment and instructing the city clerk to send out notice of the final assessment, which includes the opportunity for appeal. After the appeal period has lapsed, and if there are no appeals, then ordinance number 5961 can be brought back to council for second and final reading, and then will be recorded with the King County Recorder's Office on the benefited properties. This is signed by the council president.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move that the council concur with the committee of the whole committee report.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. The council concur with the committee, the whole committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Van.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a few committee reports from the Finance Committee.
Okay, Finance Committee report for approval and claims of payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves the following payments. Accounts payable, a total payment of $8,073,675.57 for a number of vouchers and payroll vouchers, or payroll benefit withholding vouchers. And then for payroll, we have total payment of $1,542,668.68 for payroll vouchers, including 667 direct deposits and 5 checks. This is for the January 1st or January 16th, 2020 through January 31st pay period, and then a payment to Kidder Matthews for $26,852.46. The vouchers are on file in the clerk's office if anybody would like to see them. This is signed by the committee vice chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Van.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the council concur with the recommendations of the Finance Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And the next report is regarding the VIBAs. So Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to adopt the attached resolution, which grants the mayor or designee the authority to, one, establish and adopt the HRA, which are health reimbursement arrangement plans offered and administered by the VIBA Trust for Public Employees in the Northwest, and two, make contributions to the plans for the benefits of employees who belong to represented or unrepresented defined employee groups that have agreed to have benefits contributed in lieu of amounts employees would otherwise receive in another form of compensation. This is signed by the committee vice chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Van.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the council concur with the recommendations of the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
And the final Finance Committee report is regarding a position reclassification for Public Works. Okay, it's a request to convert a Maintenance Services Division lead vehicle and equipment mechanic position, which is pay grade A19, to a vehicle and equipment mechanic position, which is pay grade A15. The Finance Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to authorize the conversion of an existing Maintenance Services Division lead vehicle and equipment mechanic position, pay grade A19, to a vehicle and equipment mechanic position, pay grade A15, with the estimated fiscal impact of $8,656 in 2020 and an annual savings of approximately $10,387. This too is signed by the committee vice chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Van.
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the council concur with the recommendations of the Finance Committee. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Councilmember Benedetti.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember McGurven.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Gorman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a Planning and Development Committee report to present.
Okay, the P&D, or Planning and Development Committee report is regarding transit-oriented development sub-area plan. The Planning and Development Committee recommends concurrence in the staff recommendation to create a vision and strategies for a multimodal neighborhood around the planned transit center that facilitates mixed-use development, maximizes multimodal transportation options, improves pedestrian connectivity, integrates with neighboring areas, and establishes a neighborhood that's distinct from the downtown but aligned with the goals of the city center community plan. The plan will cite and justify development regulations, zoning and overlay changes, and infrastructure investments necessary to transform the area into a pedestrian-oriented neighborhood, as well as opportunities to leverage public investment to maximize the efficacy of corresponding private investments. The committee further recommends that an ordinance adopting this plan be presented for first reading. This is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Corman.
I've just noted the report that we all signed looks perfect in every way except for the date. For some reason, the date's wrong at the top of the
Oh,
report.
December 7th.
So I'd like to change that to February 24. And with that change, I'd move approval of this committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and approved that the council concur with the Planning and Development Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Next up is legislation.
Okay, the first, we have one resolution. It's regarding the VIBA plans. So a resolution of the City of Renton, Washington, authorizing adoption of and contributions to the Health Reimbursement Arrangement Voluntary Employees Beneficiary Association, which we're calling HRA VIBA plans.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember McGurven.
I move that the resolution be adopted as read.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the resolution be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, then we have several ordinances for first reading. The first is regarding the latecomer assessment for the Sunset Lane project. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, establishing the latecomer assessment for the Sunset Lane Northeast Improvement Project, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Council President Perez.
I move that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. And I'm not going to take a vote because the city attorney's waving me off.
The next council meeting is too soon. We have to send out the notice of final assessment, and we have to allow a 20-day appeal period before we can bring it back for second and final reading.
So I move it for second reading whenever.
Do I have to take a vote on the?
I have to
Can amend the
cancel
motion.
I amend my motion.
Simply that it's not on the next council meeting.
Okay.
The motion will include, it'll be on the next, but bring
The
it back when it's
23rd?
ready to come back.
I believe the 23rd.
The 23rd would probably be okay.
But do I say 23rd then? 23rd? Okay,
Do we need to
gonna
take a
amend.
motion that's already on the table now, or?
You could withdraw it and redo it.
okay. I withdraw my motion. And now I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading on March 23rd.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading on March 23rd. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ordinance carries.
Let's see. Okay, the next ordinance is regarding a docket item for outdoor storage, D-156. This was approved on February 10th via the Planning and Development Committee. So an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 4260M, 4280A29, 44110A, 44110B, 44110C, and 44110D3B3, and section 41190 of the Renton Municipal Code by classifying bulk storage in the zoning use table, permitting bulk storage in industrial zones, providing for minimum separation distances from residential zoning designations, simplifying storage facilities, bulk in section 44110, adding bulk storage to the definitions of storage indoor, storage outdoor, storage self-service, and storage vehicle in section 411-190, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Corman.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
The next ordinance is for first reading regarding design requirements for assisted living. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsection 43100B1B of the Renton Municipal Code by revising design district applicability regulations in the city's urban design districts B and D, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember
I
Corman.
move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
5965. Okay, so the next ordinance is regarding conditional use permit criteria. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsections 4145G3, G4, 42120A, 42120B, and C, and 42130A, and B, and Section 4930 of the Renton Municipal Code, revising conditional use permit criteria, adding new subsections 4930F and 4930G regarding decision criteria for height increases and density increases, providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Corman.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Okay, the next item is also a docket item, and it's regarding open space requirements. An ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsection 42115E2 of the Renton Municipal Code, amending residential standards for common open space, providing for severability, and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Corman.
I move the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that the ordinance be placed on second and final reading at the next council meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
The last ordinance is for second and final reading, and it's regarding changes to the Renton Municipal Art Commission duties code change. So an ordinance of the City of Renton, Washington, amending subsection 286A of the Renton Municipal Code by refining duties of the Renton Municipal Arts Commission, the Commission, and the Community and Economic Development Department related to the city art collection, approving commission bylaws, and providing for severability and establishing an effective date.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Van.
I move the ordinance to be adopted as read.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, the ordinance be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right,
Roll
gotta take a
call.
roll call.
Oh,
Yeah, we got to take a roll call, Kim.
Okay.
Sorry. So, Council President Perez,
Aye.
Councilmember Van,
Aye.
Councilmember Benedetti,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Halloran,
Aye.
Councilmember McIrvin,
Aye.
and Councilmember Corman.
Aye.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, all ayes.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have new business. Council President Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council retreat will take place on the Maple Greens Cedar Room on February 28 and February 29 from 8:30 to 4 p.m. And the Committee of the Whole will be on the Conference Center on March 2nd at 4:30, and we have 3 items in the agenda: Renton Response Update, Senior Initiative, AARP, Age-Friendly City, and Emerging Issues. And a point of personal privilege. Today is the last meeting of our great friend and administrator, Greg Zimmerman. And I will not feel right if I don't mention that for the last 5 years, you have always been there. You always have been in every single meeting, and your help, your mentorship, what you have done for this city will be celebrated during the retreat. But I wanted just to say a few words of thank you very much. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for everything that you have done for the city of Renton. You will be certainly missed.
Here, here.
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Van.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have a few new business. In place as Vice Chair for Finance Committee, I want to let our community know that on March 2nd, 2020, at 3:30 p.m., the Finance Committee will convene at the Council Conference Room with 3 topics. 1, Raynor Avenue South Corridor Grant. 2, Sunset Oaks Grant Award to RHA. 3, Department of Commerce Contract. And also at 4 p.m., the Community Service Committee will be meeting at the Council Conference Room. The issues in front of us will be 1, Human Services, Housing Repair and Parks, portion of the homeless encampments. 2, Emerging Issues in Community Services.
That's it. Okay, Councilmember Benedetti.
Now I have no new business, Mr. Mayor. I'll get it.
Councilmember O'Halloran.
I second that. I now also have no new business. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor.
Councilmember McIrvin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I first would like to let my colleagues know that I have made that mistake at least once, if not twice, so it happens. But second, I would like to announce that on Monday, March 2nd, there will not be a Transportation Committee because it's been canceled.
Thank you. Councilmember Corman.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, that's all the new business for today. Our new council members sure are feeling, they're going to correct me already on the second meeting. So what's the wish of the council?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adjourned. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you.